April 6, 1917, Washington, D.C. Imagine a world superpower on the brink of entering the deadliest war in history, with an air force so pathetically equipped that it could barely get off the ground. The United States Army Air Service had just 55 operational aircraft, while Germany boasted over 2,000 warplanes. But the real crisis wasn't just the numbers, it was something far smaller, yet absolutely critical: spark plugs. High-performance ones that could handle the brutal demands of aircraft engines. America didn't make a single one. Every spark plug in the country came from Robert Bosch GmbH in Stuttgart, Germany, the enemy. As war was declared, that lifeline vanished, threatening to cripple America's entire air campaign before a single plane took off. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of how a French bicycle champion turned inventor, working out of a humble workshop in Toledo, Ohio, cracked a problem that even the mighty German engineers thought was theirs to own. He created ceramic spark plug cores that could endure temperatures over 2,000 degrees and churn them out by the millions in under 18 months. This is the tale of Albert Champion, the man who sparked America's aviation revolution and made German dominance in ignition technology a thing of the past. What made his invention so groundbreaking? How did a guy who started as a bike racer end up saving the US war effort? And why did this forgotten hero's legacy split into two rival companies that still dominate the market today? Stick around, because what you're about to learn about Albert Champion will completely flip your view on how ingenuity and crisis can rewrite history. Before we jump in, if stories like this about engineering triumphs, wartime innovations, and unsung heroes get your gears turning like they do mine, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a beat. And if you want to fuel more deep dives into these hidden gems of history, consider becoming a channel member. Your support keeps the research rolling and these stories alive. All right, let's ignite this journey into the spark that powered a nation. Fact 1. The declaration that exposed America's fatal flaw. When President Woodrow Wilson stood before Congress on April 6, 1917, and declared war on Germany, it wasn't just about troops and trenches. The skies were about to become the new battlefield. But America's aviation was in shambles. Only 55 planes ready to fly against Germany's 1,200. Worse yet, procurement officers at the War Department quickly uncovered a nightmare. Every aircraft engine needed spark plugs to ignite the fuel-air mixture and keep those props spinning. Not just any plugs, these had to survive insane heat, pressure, and vibrations. And guess what? America couldn't produce them. Zero domestic capability. All spark plugs came from one place, Robert Bosch GmbH in Stuttgart, now enemy territory. Overnight, the supply dried up, leaving US engines grounded and the air war in jeopardy. Fact 2. The Bosch monopoly that ruled the world. Robert Bosch GmbH had cornered the market since engineer Gottlob Honnold invented the first viable high-voltage spark plug in 1902. It used porcelain insulators and precision-machined electrodes, setting the global standard. The patents? German. The know-how? German. The entire supply chain? You guessed it. German. Bosch plugs powered engines everywhere, from cars to planes, because nothing else could handle the extremes. Their dominance wasn't luck. It was decades of refined engineering that made them indispensable. And as of that fateful April day, America was cut off, staring down a technological black hole. Fact 3. The bicycle champion who raced into destiny. Albert Champion, born in Paris in 1878, wasn't born to tinker with engines. He was made for speed. As a teen courier for a French bicycle maker, his raw talent shone through, and soon his bosses sponsored him in races. By his early 20s, he was a star, clinching wins across France, including the grueling Paris-Roubaix in 1899. Picture this: a young phenom pedaling through mud and cobblestones, outlasting the pack. But racing was changing fast. Motor pacing hit the scene, where cyclists drafted behind motorcycles for blistering speeds over 60 mph. Champion thrived in this high-stakes game, until fate threw a curveball. Fact 4. The crash that shattered a career and sparked a new path. In 1903, during a race at Brighton Beach in Brooklyn, New York, disaster hit. His motorcycle pacer wiped out, and Champion, screaming along at top speed, couldn't dodge the wreckage. He suffered a compound femur fracture, leaving one leg 2 inches shorter. At just 25, his racing days were done. But while recovering back in France, Champion's mind shifted gears. He'd seen those pacing motorcycles up close. Their ignition systems were junk, with spark plugs failing after every few runs, overheating like crazy. If he couldn't race, maybe he could fix the machines that broke him. It was a pivot that would change everything. Fact 5. Crossing the Atlantic to build an empire. By 1905, Champion was back in the US, backed by brothers Frank D. Inventor and Robert A. Stranahan. They set up the Albert Champion Company in Boston's South End, in the iconic Cyclorama building. At first, it was simple, importing French electrical parts like magnetos from companies such as Newport. But Champion had bigger dreams. By 1907, he was cranking out something revolutionary, the first American-made spark plugs with ceramic insulators. This wasn't just copying, it was leapfrogging the competition. Fact 6. The ceramic secret that beat the odds. What set Champion's plugs apart was the insulator material. Most US makers used mica, which soaked up moisture and caused misfires, or basic porcelain, which cracked under heat swings. Champion sourced special French clay, mixed it just right, and fired it in kilns to create ceramics that were game changers. These bad boys had 3 killer traits. They shrugged off heat up to 200 degrees, 650 degrees, without breaking a sweat, handled wild temperature swings that would shatter porcelain, and kept electricity locked in. No leaks even when gunked up from combustion. It was like building a fortress around the spark. Tough, reliable, and ready for abuse. Fact 7. The intricate process behind the magic. Making these wasn't child's play. You'd grind the French clay into powder, mix it with water and binders, extrude it through steel dies to shape the insulator, then bisque fire at 1000 degrees C. Add glaze, fire again at 1000 degrees, and finally grind to exact specs. Each step demanded precision, honed over years. Champion nailed it, while rivals floundered. His plugs weren't just better, they were the future. Fact 8. The GM deal that launched him skyward. By 1908, word spread, and William C. Durant, founder of General Motors, came knocking. He wanted Champion to relocate to Flint, Michigan, and supply plugs exclusively for Buick, which Durant owned. Champion said yes, moving the operation and fueling GM's engines. But here's the twist. Champion didn't own the company named after him. The Stranahan brothers held the purse strings. Clashes brewed. Champion pushed for bold innovations, while they craved steady output. By 1909, it all boiled over. Fact 9. The bitter split and the birth of AC. Champion walked away from his own namesake company. Barred by contract from using Champion, he founded the AC Spark Plug Company in 1909, AC for his initials, Albert Champion. The breakup was ugly. His ex-partners kept the Champion name and his processes, churning out plugs. Now, 2 rivals claimed his legacy, but AC pulled ahead fast. Champion kept tweaking his ceramics, electrodes, and production, proving his edge. Fact 10. The Lindbergh endorsement that sealed the deal. In May 1927, Charles Lindbergh's solo Atlantic crossing, in the spirit of St. Louis, relied on AC plugs, and he shouted their praises in ads. It was proof. These plugs could handle epic endurance. Meanwhile, the original company rebranded as Champion Spark Plug after restructuring, running solo without Albert. This tangled web, 2 giants from one man's brain, might have stayed a quirky auto tale, if not for the war that thrust it into the spotlight. Fact 11. The war's impossible engine challenge. Just 7 weeks after declaration, on May 29, 1917, engineers Jesse G. Vincent, Packard, and Elbert J. Hall Scott, checked into DC's Willard Hotel. Their mission: design a mass-producible aircraft engine from scratch in 1 week. They blended Packard, Hall Scott, and captured German Mercedes features, emerging June 4th with the Liberty L12, a water-cooled V12 pumping 400 horsepower. Packard prototyped it by July, tested by August. Fall 1917, the War Department ordered 22 1,300, split among Ford, Lincoln, Packard, Marmon, Buick, and Cadillac. It was modular genius, with Ford slashing cylinder costs from 24 to 8 days and ramping output from 151 to over 2,000 daily. Fact 12. The spark plug math that spelled doom or opportunity. Each Liberty needed 24 plugs. Do the numbers: 2,200 engines, X-24 equals 540,000 plugs, plus spares, 4 sets per plane, another 500 plus, and ongoing replacements as they wore out. America required over 1 million in 18 months. Capacity? Zilch for aircraft grade. Bosch plugs were the gold standard, proven in high compression, 6:1 ratio, scorching 100°C environments. Patents blocked licensing. Allies couldn't spare imports. The only shot, build from scratch. But who could qualify in time? Fact 13, the company that dared to step up. Enter AC Spark Plug in Flint, now GM-owned, and Champion's Toledo workshop, backed by the Stranahans. Relations were messy, but war erased lines. America needed plugs, and Champion could deliver. His ceramic was tailor-made for aircraft hell. Thermal cycling, full throttle to cool descent, high pressure, altitude quirks, misfires at 18,000 feet, and bone-rattling vibes. His alumina silicate mix, alumina from bauxite, silica, feldspar, secret additives, aced it all. Fact 14, the brutal tests that proved the pudding. Major Thurman Bain at McCook Field, Dayton, devised killer protocols. Liberty at 2,000 RPM, 400 HP, 50-hour non-stop run, mixture tweaks every 5 minutes, mimicking dogfights. Altitude sims to 18,000 feet. Post-run checks. Bosch plugs from captures averaged 23.4-hour failures. Porcelain cracks. Early U.S. attempts, 8.1 hours. Erosion and breakdowns. Champion ceramics, 18 of 24 nailed the full 50 hours, specs intact. His low thermal expansion matched steel, dodging stress fractures that doomed Bosch. Fact 15, the massive contract that changed the game. October 12, 1917. Contract 43891 for 2 million plugs. March-December 1918 delivery is 47 each versus Bosch's pre-war $20. Champion had 6 months to scale from 200 plugs day workshop output to 8,000 plus. Toledo was no factory, handcrafted artisan vibes. He turned it into America's first mass-production spark plug powerhouse, right on deadline. Fact 16, the workforce miracle amid chaos. Hired 847 in 3 months, 67% women, many green to manufacturing, as men were drafted. They learned precision on the fly. Installed 12 tunnel kilns from Ohio potteries, running 24/7 at 100°, guzzling coal. Raw material crises hit. Bauxite from British Guyana needed Navy escorts against U-boats, plugs deemed critical. Copper and steel, ration exemptions, as vital as ammo. Assembly, from 3.5 minutes plug to 47 seconds via optimized lines. Fact 17. The quality grind and production surge. Government-mandated 100% inspection. Early rejects hit 23% in February 1918, dropping to 3.1% by September. Conditions were hellish. Kiln heat pushed summers over 110 degrees. Winters meant scavenging fuel amid coal shortages. Worker Anna Kowalski, a 19-year-old Polish immigrant on grinding, recalled in 1972, hands shaking at first, until Champion himself checked her work and said, "This will keep a pilot alive," steadied her forever. Output soared. January 1918, 47,000. March, 183,000. June, 524,000. September, 891,000. November peak, 1,027,000. Total 1918, 483,000 plugs. Fact 18, the battlefield proof in the skies over France. Over 20,000 Liberties built by Armistice. Ford 415,077 cylinders, Packard and Lincoln 6,500 engines each. Everyone got Champion plugs, excelling. U.S. pilots in the Airco DH-4, only homegrown combat plane, saw results. Ace Eddie Rickenbacker, in a SPA-D-13 dogfight, June 18, 1918, over Chateau Thierry. 14 minutes, 18,000 feet to treetops, max RPM, no misfires. His report praised engine reliability, plugs perfect post-flight. Fact 19, the logs that told the tale. 94th Aero Squadron, pre-Champion, 4.2, plug changes month, 7 plug-related failures. Post, zero point 0.8 changes, 0 failures. U.S. readiness hit 73% versus Allied 52%. Engine aborts from 14% to 3.1%. 0 combat losses from plugs. German intel from downed planes noted. Champion superiority. Single-piece ceramic beat Bosch's 3-piece better shock resistance. But by October 1918, Germany couldn't copy. Bombed factories, lost workers, no capacity. Fact 20, the tragic end and enduring legacy. Champion died October 1927 in Paris, age 49, from pulmonary embolism, months after Lindbergh's flight boosted his fame. Front page news, but his impact lived on. 2 brands from him, AC Delco, GM's AC, and Champion, Federal Mogul Tenneco. Both use his ceramic tech. Post-WE, Ford standardized on Model T, 1923, GM exclusive, 1925, 90% aviation share, 1930. Refinements, resistor plugs, 1926. Extended tips, 1928. Military mandate, 1930s. Weight 96 million plugs, no bottlenecks. Hey friends, thanks for sticking with this epic spark of history. If you dig this kind of deep research rescuing forgotten innovators, grab my new ebook, Ignited Revolutions, 50 Tales of Wartime Tech Triumphs, packed with exclusive docs. Scan the QR on screen or check the pinned comment link. Your support sparks more content like this. Heartfelt thanks. The irony? Germany birthed the spark plug industry in 1902, but by 1918, America had superior plugs in unmatched quantities. Champion ceramics, alumina core, copper electrodes, self-cleaning range, single-piece build, power today's 1.5 billion annual plugs. From cars to mowers, it's his lineage. In 1917, America had nada. 18 months later, world beaters. Crisis met genius, immigrant inventor plus U.S. production. 4,823,000 plugs in 1918. 0 plug losses. Industry from scratch. War over. Sparks eternal. Germany second for once. Now, your turn. Ever tinkered with spark plugs? What's your wildest engine story, or which wartime invention deserves its own video? Drop it in the comments. Let's keep the conversation firing.